Prabhupada. Translation. O great sage, as soon as I got a taste of the personality of Godhead, my attention to hear of the Lord was unflinching. And as my taste developed, I could realize that it was only in my ignorance that I had accepted gross and subtle coverings. For both the Lord and I are transcendental. Purport. Ignorance in material existence is compared to darkness, and in all Vedic literatures, the personality of Godhead is compared to the sun. Wherever there is light, there cannot be darkness. Hearing of the Lord's pastimes is itself transcendental association with the Lord, because there is no difference between the Lord and his transcendental pastimes. To become associated with the supreme light is to dissipate all ignorance. By ignorance only, the conditioned soul wrongly thinks that he and the Lord are products of material nature. But in fact, the personality of Godhead and the living beings are transcendental, and they have nothing to do with the material nature. When ignorance is removed and it is perfectly realized that there is nothing existing without the personality of Godhead, then nescience is removed. Since the gross and subtle bodies are emanations from the personality of Godhead, the knowledge of light permits one to engage both of them in the service of the Lord. The gross bodies should be engaged in acts of rendering service to the Lord, as in bringing water, cleansing the temple, or making obeisances, etc. The path of archana, or worshipping the Lord in the temple, involves engaging one's gross body in the service of the Lord. Similarly, the subtle mind should be engaged in hearing the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, thinking about them, chanting his name, etc. All such activities are transcendental. None of the gross or subtle senses should be otherwise be engaged. Such realization of transcendental activities is made possible by many, many years of apprenticeship in devotional service, but simply attraction of love for the personality of Godhead, as it was developed in Narad Muni by hearing, is highly effective. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschate Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gauravaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Tasmin stada labdva ruchir mahamate priya shravasya skalitha matir mama yayaham etat sadasad svamayaya pashe mai brahmani kalpitam pari. O great sage, as soon as I got a taste of the personality of Godhead, my attention to hear of the Lord was unflinching, and as my taste developed, I could realize that it was only in my ignorance that I had accepted the gross and subtle coverings, for both the Lord and I are transcendental. In Bhagavad Gita, the soul, Atma, is said to be Jnanino. Jnanino means the one with knowledge. We have full knowledge. Our Swarup, full means we cannot fully know God, but to the extent that we can be self-realized, that we can know that much knowledge. So we are full in knowledge about ourselves, this creation, and the Supreme Lord. And we are fully spiritual. And the spirit is said to be Aparayam Itastanyam Prakatim Vidime Param. We are superior to matter. Jiva is superior to matter. Why? Which says because Yayadam Dharyati Jagat. Because we can manipulate matter. I can move it, I can manipulate it. But matter cannot, it doesn't have consciousness. So one question is asked in Srimad Bhagavatam. How is it that the jiva, who is full of knowledge, who is spiritual and superior to matter, became covered by matter? How is this possible? This is a question in Bhagavatam. I think it's in Uddhav Gita. It doesn't seem possible. How can a prime minister of a country be guided by one of the ministers, be ordered? He cannot be ordered. He is superior. Bhagavad Gita says that Jiva is superior. Prakriti Vidhi me param. How is it that Maya is covered? How can that be? Because Maya is inferior. How is it? How is it? Who can say? Oh, waking up, huh? It's only by Krishna's intervention that this can happen. Otherwise it's not possible. Jiva is superior, matter is inferior. This is explained. So only by intervention of the Lord can this happen. And therefore we understand in Bhagavad Gita that this is Krishna's energy. We have deeper knowledge. The Vaishnavas and the Vedanta have superior knowledge and understanding that Maya is under Krishna directly. Devi Yesha Gunamayi. That only Krishna can make it happen. Only Krishna can make it happen. That little mosquito flying here is thinking he's a mosquito. I'm a mosquito, I must have blood. I must find a female mosquito. He's thinking. Actually, he's eternal servant of Krishna. We are completely deluded to think that we are, Telugu, Gujarati, Hindu, Christian, Muslim. This is a delusion. And this is a state of darkness. Shastra says, Tamasi. We are in a state of darkness right now. It's dark. In the darkness, you just try to imagine that you're in a room. When we were young, this was how it was. We were only 5 or 6. Maybe by some chance you open your eyes at night and you look around. Oh, there's a demon on the door, looking fearful. There's a snake there, and you get afraid. I want to go to the toilet. I'll not go. It's so scary. These demons, snakes all over the room. Then slowly the light comes in. Oh, that's not a demon. That's my jacket. I put it on the hook. And that's not a snake. I left something, rope. So, but when in ignorance, when we are ignorant of what's going on, it breeds fear and anxiety. So much fear, anxiety, all this now in society we have problems of depression and stress. This is all from the Tamogun, coming from Tamogun. And as Tamogun increases, this increases. More fear, more anxiety, more stress, all these things. So because of association with lower modes, we have become conditioned like that. And now we're in a state of darkness. In Gita, Krishna explains how Tesham eva aham anukampartam aham ajnanajam tama nasham atma bhavasto jnanativina bhasvata. So there it's mentioned, Tesham aham eva anukampartam nashayami atma. He's saying there, darkness born of ignorance. In the translation it comes. I destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. So in this dark state, when people are in so much anxiety and fear, they try to correct that by material means. It's not possible. We cannot, because we have to correct the root cause, ignorance, avidya, ignorance. Why are we ignorant of the Supreme Lord? We have been covered by the material energy. So this state of darkness, living like this, it's a very disturbed condition. We can't understand. Animals are more in darkness than us. They are always in fear. They are always afraid and running, and they hear a noise. What is that? We don't know. They're always in fear. But even within the human race, there are divisions. So it's supposed to be that only one who is supposed to be fearful is the Shudra. Shochati iti Shudra. The definition is, he's always lamenting. Oh, why don't I have this? Oh, why do I have this? Oh, why is this person this? Why is this? Why? Lamenting, always lamenting. Shochati iti Shudra. It's supposed to be actually that the higher caste, they are not supposed to be in fear at all. Fearless. Why? Due to knowledge. Knowledge of the Supreme. This knowledge is lacking. So Shastra tells everyone, Tamasi ma Jyotirgama. Don't be in darkness. Why are you in darkness? It's our duty to come to light. We are given the facility. We are given such a big brain. We are given power of discrimination, intelligence, powerful memory. Hands, I can hold a Gita. I can hold Bhagavatam. Animal cannot hold. Bhagavatam. We are given such a facility because we have some responsibility. We have to come out. Shastra tells us it's an order, it's actually an order that we must endeavor for self-realization. We must come out of the darkness. So now it says here that in all Vedic literatures, personality of God is compared to the sun. So now I was explaining, like, when we are young, sometimes we see these shadows, we don't know what it is. When the sun comes, everything's okay. We can get up and go around. So a lot of these disturbed conditions that we are in will be overcome when we realize the Supreme Personality of God. Even when we don't fully realize, even if you start the process of bhakti, even the initial stages, we are higher than a Mayavadi sannyasi. One on the path of bhakti, initial state, who develops initial faith, adaushada, tata sadhu sangha, that much that he seeks out association of devotees, that much stage, he is higher than a Mayavadi sannyasi who does not understand about the personality of Godhead in full, may understand partially. Satchidanand Vigraha. So even the initial stages give such a realization and knowledge and peace and comfort that one is not getting in others, any other path. And therefore bhakti is full of taste, full of ruchi, bhav. It's so flavor, so much flavor and rasa that it's common, very common. Devotees those who are devotees of Vishnu, Krishna are renounced and living simply. Even Parikshit Maharaj asked Bhagavatam, how is it that Lord Shiva, who has nothing, is living on the tree? His devotees have so much money and they are rich, opulent. But Vishnu, who is Madhav, husband of goddess of fortune, possessor of everything, his devotees are poverty-stricken always. So anyway, it goes to show that answer comes there. Ashutosh, Shiva is easily pleased. He'll not think what's good for the devotee. He'll just give what you want. Vishnu sees what's good for us. But another thing is there, that one who has Vishnu, he has such a wealth. He has knowledge, he has happiness, he has eternality, he has so much bliss that he has no problem living in very simple material circumstances. Because he's full, his heart is full, he's complete. He does not need external things to be happy and so much opulent. So Krishna is compared to a light. Krishna Surya Sama, Maya, Haya, Andhakara. Jaha Krishna Taha Nahi Maya Adhikara. We see shadow here. Why? There's no light. It's being blocked like this. Anyway, there's a shadow, you can understand there's a blockage. But it can never happen that the shadow can exist in the presence of the sun or the light. Similarly, Maya has been deputed to be existing behind Vishnu. She always is behind Vishnu. Maya Devi. She can never come before Vishnu. Any presence of Vishnu means there is no Maya. So to come out to the Jiva is Jnanino, full of knowledge, but we became covered by Maya because of Krishna. Krishna's order. Krishna's order because we wanted it. Nothing is forced. Our condition, what we are experiencing now is our own doing. Where does that say in Bhagavad Gita? Our suffering is due to our own action. Now, bhoktite hetur karanam uchyate. The suffering and enjoyment of the jiva is due to his own doing. People say, if there's such a God, then why am I suffering? Why did he allow people to suffer, to die of hunger, to be in war? It's because of our own doing. So, by present, but we are not in knowledge now. We are being covered. So how to come back to knowledge? It's again our doing. It's up to us that we will catch Bhagavad Gita and read it or not. We'll catch the smartphone and open YouTube or whatever. It's up to us. We want to come out, we want to stay. That is up to us. We have now in this present existence, we have a subtle and a gross body. There are 8 elements which are separated from energy, the Bhinna Prakriti, Krishna says. So our subtle and gross bodies are made from these 8 substances. But they also come from Krishna. They also emanating from Krishna. Everything is emanating from Krishna. We know because Bhagavatam, Krishna says, in the beginning was only me. Aham eva asam eva agre. In the beginning only I was there. So that means whatever we see came out of Krishna. Gross and subtle body came from Krishna. He is the rightful owner. Even the body we have is not our body. It doesn't belong to us. Previously, people are so fixed in dharma because they had these deeper philosophical understandings. Now, easily we can make a choice, shall I be Krishna conscious? Shall I not? After 10 years, or let's see, I'm not sure, but that's because we don't understand this functioning of this world and this body. There is no choice. There is no choice. It's compulsory. That one has been given the body, mind, senses, subtle body, gross body, it must be engaged in Krishna's service. If we don't, it's an offense. We'll suffer. We will suffer. It's actually an offense to not be Krishna conscious. How do you know that? Because suffering comes. If it's natural, it's our choice, why does they suffer so much? We're breaking the laws of nature. Okay, dog cannot. The mosquito, he can say, I don't want to be Krishna conscious. Okay, it's up to you. There's no obligation. But for the human form, it's a must. It's compulsory. We are not telling people this, or they'll not come. They'll go away. Fanatics. But actually, it's compulsory. It's also compulsory that until such time that we have a subtle body, which by the way all of us have, we must engage in our varna and ashram. That's also compulsory. There's a shlok, it's spoken by Yudhishthira Maharaj in first canto here, I think chapter 8. He says something like, just as the cow, no sorry, not that, there's another, there are 2. Now this other one is spoken by Yamraj. Yamraj in 6th canto is saying, just like the bull goes around that grinding, to grind the oil, goes round, with the rope tied to his nose, he must go round. Similarly, the jiva, until such time he is Krishna conscious, he must follow the injunctions of Shastra compulsorily. So that means whatever is the dharma of a woman, it must be followed. Dharma of someone who is having this varna or this ashram must be followed. It's not option. This is the plan of the Lord. And we may say, I have a choice. You don't have a choice because I am a jiva, I'm in this body, everything's being provided to me. I'm breathing air, food, as Prabhupada said, even we are paying money to get the bread, but who gave the atta for that way? They didn't make it in the factory. We can't make grain in the factory. So everything's given by God. Everything, our existence, the life here, and exist knowledge, subtle body, gross body, everything. So, because of that, it belongs to Him. It should be used in His service. Now, if we use it to enjoy, that is offense, that will lead to disturbance in our life. So, therefore, only a devotee can really be happy. Krishna Bhakta Nishkam, Ataiva Shant. He has no desire. By devotional service means there is no personal desire, I'm acting for the Supreme Lord. I don't have any desire to fulfill. Otherwise, everyone has some desires pertaining to my body. Someone may say, I don't want to do anything for me, but my family, I am just taking care. Or my country, I am selflessly serving my country or my family. Or humanity. My religion is humanity, they will say. Why humanity? Why not the snake? Why aren't you serving the snake? Why not the monkey? Why humanity? Why are you partial? Or your family? Why not the neighbor? Serve the neighbor's family. Why your family? So this Prabhupada says extended selfishness. I may be selfish, but extended selfish means only me, or extended me, my family, my country, my humanity. Actually, we have to serve everyone. How do you do that? Worship Krishna. Water the root of the tree. We have to do that. That's our duty. That's our dharma. And now, so as I said, because people don't understand how this word functions, they're thinking that Krishna consciousness is an option, or we can delay it, or something like that. But actually the jiva must engage, must be Krishna conscious by order, agya, of the Lord, immediately. In case we forgot, Mahaprabhu came and said, Amara agyai guruham tare. And by my order, even in that, yesterday we were reading Chaitanya Charitamrita, by my order, everyone in the universe should become Krishna, accept this movement and preach it. Yeah, so it is a must to be Krishna conscious, because everything we are using belongs to Krishna. It's given to us for a purpose. It has to be. Until such time that we become Krishna conscious, we must follow the injunctions of Shastra. That was what Yamaraj says in that verse. Just like the bull, he cannot option, I want to go there. No, you must go around, because he's tied to the medha. It's called medha, the central pole which will grind the oil or the husk. He'll go round and round. He cannot decide, I'll go there. So similarly, we are bound by the ropes of Shastra. We must follow. We must follow them. And therefore, previously people were so fixed in dharma. Rather, for example, this idea of divorce, it was not there. Or like a woman giving up service to her husband, or a man not supporting his wife, that's one. Or Kshatriya deviating from his duty. It was, they were very fixed in that. We can get an idea in Mahabharata how Arjuna sometime made a vow, and to execute it once he vowed that anyone who speaks bad about my Gandiva bow, I'll kill that person. So then Yudhishthira Maharaj, he came and he was speaking with him, and he said that you're useless Gandiva bow, you cannot do anything. Then he said, now what do I do? Because I gave a vow that I must kill whoever disrespects my Gandiva bow. Who knows that story? What happened? So then he said, Krishna was there, he said that, okay, you dishonor him, that's like death. Killing someone. He's senior. So anyway, the thing is, anything that we have to follow according to Shastra, people followed very strictly. And in Rama and Mahabharata, these examples are given. Like Gandhari, she covered her eyes because she didn't want to be superior to her husband. A woman should not show superiority to her husband in any way. So now it's like, okay, well, backward people didn't know, or maybe we'll do it, or not so strict, because they don't understand. But one who has understanding of Shastra knows that injunctions must be followed. And rather, better we suffer inconvenience now of following it when we don't want to, than to suffer the result of not following. So due to ignorance, due to nescience, people don't understand this. Now here it's explained, engaging in service of the Lord. Gross body and subtle body should be engaged. How? Now here it's given, example is given here. Actually archana, worship of the Lord in the temple, Prabhupada says, involves engaging one's gross body in the service of the Lord. Again in ignorance, what do people say? Rituals. Ritual. Empty ritual. Hinduism is full of rituals. You have to rise above the rituals. You don't understand. Philosophy. We have a gross body. How am I going to engage this in service of the Lord? Supreme Lord is in Goloka. Okay, he's all pervading, but his personal form, he's enjoying his pastime. I'm here. I want to serve the Lord. Why? It's so great to serve the Lord. We'll get purified. We'll get knowledge. We will not be in nescience. Maya will withdraw. So I want to serve the Lord. How will I do it? I want to serve the Lord with this body. How can you do that? Supreme Lord is spiritual. You have a material body. How can matter come and combine with spirit? But no, Supreme Lord has come in the form of Archa, Vigraha, so that we can engage in His service practically. And philosophically we understand this and we become attracted. How? What a great opportunity to become purified. Take part in archan. Archan means, okay, the pujari is worshipping, but if someone is even attending and watching, present, that's also archan. That's also devotional service. In one quote, Prabhupada explains about shikha. Shikha should be anybody engaged in archan should have a shikha. Personal worship of the Supreme Lord. Shikha. That is one of the significance. So the worship of the Lord is engaged in by the gross body. And we have such elaborate procedures for that. Practically, in this sixth canto, the Ajamil chapters explaining about Ajamil. So in one of the purports, actually this one where Ajamil is in Haridwar at the end, then the same Vishnu Dutas come and the Viman land, that's Viman, Vaikunthavan lands, then he observes them and he sees, oh, they're the same personalities who came at that time when the Yamadutas were taking me. So then he understood that now Vishnu is calling me. So he gets up, circumambulates first the Vahan and the Vishnu Dutas. And at that time what happens, it's explained that his body fell down. His external form fell down, and in the spiritual form he boarded the aircraft and it went. So in the purport there, Prabhupada explains that by regular contact with the Supreme Lord, the body becomes spiritualized. It's not anymore under material laws or material conditions. And then he gave a direct example of the Archa Vigraha. Somebody engaged in regularly touching the body of the deity by dressing, bathing, cleaning, decorating, touching the body. Gradually his body becomes spiritualized, Prabhupada explains. What a powerful method is Vedic system. Due to ignorance, people, so ignorant. Actually, even the followers are ignorant. When people challenge, why are you worshipping a stone? I don't know. Give it up. Okay. You didn't understand. Such a powerful method of spiritualization. The Supreme Lord has come himself, and because he appears, that stone is not stone. He can do it. It's his will. He can turn matter into spirit. So he does that, and then we get opportunity to come and serve the Lord directly. And so what happens? Our form spiritualizes. So this is what happens by regular contact with the Lord. By regular contact in any way, because Supreme is Advaya, he is absolute. So in that way, Archan is so powerful. This is gross body. But now we have a subtle body. Subtle body has mind, intelligence, and false ego. So that also it's explained here. Subtle mind should be engaged in hearing the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. What is in our mind? Mind is explained in a purport in chapter 3 of Gita. It is a repository of all our desires. Repository, that word is also used in when you have a lot of files, records of people, records in a city. Now it's all digitized, but they had a place, a repository of all the details of the civilians of a country. Repository. Detailed accounts of different people and things. So the mind is the repository of all our desires and lamentations and the knowledge, our meditations, everything. So whatever we are seeing and hearing is in our mind. Right now, if someone is going to read, like now we are all hearing, hopefully in this lecture. So now, after 1 hour, 2 hours, maybe till evening, you'll be just thinking of some aspect of the lecture. Because that's what you're hearing. And you also glanced at the deity in the morning. So that will be in your mind. So whatever we are seeing and hearing is in our mind. So we have to be careful what we're hearing and seeing. What are we seeing? If we see some mundane videos, that will be in the mind. If we are seeing, if we are hearing the Lord, or if we are reading some books, that information will be in the mind. Mind is a repository of everything that is coming in from our senses. At the time of death, just like now you're sitting, if I take a picture, this is a snapshot, and that shot is covering, it summarizes the features of this room. I can show someone, look, we could see this person was here, sitting there, this light was on, like that. So at death, a snapshot of the mind is taken. That is the reference for the next body, or the next family, the next culture, religion, country will be born. The snapshot of the mind. Then we can't cheat. Now we have intelligence. Intelligence can be manipulated to influence what is in the mind. That should be what's happening. But intelligence, if it's weak, if we are not regularly reading, if it's not, properly placed, then the mind dominates. I want this, I want that, and the senses have to listen. But at death, the intelligence shuts down. You can't use intelligence at death. Actually, how I know this, right? Not that I died, and actually who dies cannot know this, isn't it? I mean, if someone dies, they can tell us, but he's dead, he'll not tell. But how do I know this? I don't know if any of you know this, but there was some record that went around 2 years ago of some woman from Kazakhstan who died, and the devotee. She died, and she saw her whole life, and she was also chanting, but still she was going, I can't remember the detail, but let me just explain that she was not going to get liberation. She was in some dangerous circumstances, but then came back to life. Yeah.
She wanted to see her mother at the time.
Oh, of course, yes. And then?
Then she later didn't happen. Later on, when she came back, she was lamenting that, at the time of the death, I was thinking of my mother.
Okay, correct, yeah. So she was from Kazakhstan, from a Muslim background. She, at the time of death, was thinking about her mother. But she came back, then she was thinking, and I chanted, I'm a devotee, I took Diksha so many years, I do book distribution, I do Harinam, but I thought of my mother. Then she's explaining that these attachments are very deep. We can't underestimate. It's very, we have to, really we have to work hard to change our swabha. It's not a simple thing. And so in that explanation, she said, I became very serious after that. So my point is that now we have intelligence. Intelligence can tell, okay, today I'll do this, I'll read this, I'll chant this, I'll do that. But at the time of death, there's no intelligence. It shuts down. Then a snapshot is taken of the mind, that is applied. And then you can't influence. Okay, now I'll think of Krishna. If it's there or it's not there. So here, it's explained. The subtle body should be engaged in service of the Lord. How? Here. That subtle mind should be engaged in hearing transcendental pastimes of the Lord, thinking about them, chanting His name. We always say that. But I'm not speaking about the Lord now, am I? In lectures, Gita, Bhagavatam, we don't talk about Krishna. We say, but I'm talking about remembering Krishna and Maya and all this. But I just personally explain that now there are these lectures on Vishnu Sahasranam, we have to hear them. That is actually Krishna Katha. Krishna's name, form, guna, rupa, nama, lila. Otherwise, I think I didn't speak even once about Krishna, right? I did indirectly. And it's Bhagavatam, and it's what we need at the present moment. This is our medicine. But strictly speaking, it said, here again it's saying that thinking about His name, activities, and all the pastimes. So actually we should be reading Krishna book and hearing this Vishnu Sahasranam lectures of Maharaj. So it says here that after many years, such realization of transcendental activities is made possible after many years of apprenticeship in devotional service. It takes years. It doesn't take years actually. but it's a gradual process of surrender, because we are fearing, Now, if I surrender, then how will I enjoy? How will I be situated in this material world? So we surrender a little bit, this much. Then this much reward comes. Oh, it's working. Okay, so I do it again, I go on. Then I surrender, I give little more. Then little more comes. In this way, I'll give it like business. I'll give this much, and then Krishna gives you, I'll give. And then we realize this is working. Then I do more surrender, gradual. That's why it's saying many years. It's the same, all of us will take time. Like if you're going to take a bath, we're checking, is the water cold? Check first, is it cold? We're not going to just bath, we have to check. So similarly, I'm checking. Krishna says surrender and I'll get something. Let me surrender. Oh, will I get some result? I got it. Let me surrender more. So therefore it's saying it takes many years. Actually, but it doesn't take many years. It can be faster. But it says here, but simply attraction of love for the personality of Godhead, as it was developed in Narad Muni by hearing, is highly effective. Yeah, shortcut is hearing from great personalities. We are enjoying to hear lectures of Prabhupada regularly. Now, by hearing, it's a shortcut. Why? He'll give you his realization. What I have to get for over so many years, when we associate with advanced devotees, they'll give you their realization very fast, very quickly. Therefore, we notice those who immediately start engaging in service of Sri Guru, personal servant or direct service, who are around, they advance very fast. That's very, in many cases, spiritual masters, when they observe one of their disciples is faltering, they said, okay, come, can you come and serve me, my service? And we may think it's because Maharaj wants my service. It's because he's seeing that this person is faltering. So let him associate with me, it will benefit. So that's also good. Simply, if one hears from elevated devotees, then their realization comes. Or taking remnants of their food. Actually, there are three ways of getting realization of someone. This I heard. One was through the remnants of food. Other is by hearing. There's a third way which is very rarely understood. You may not get it. I heard this in a lecture by some very scholarly devotee who explained. He read some article. So what is it? Third way. How to get the realization of someone. Sorry, let me say it in another way. I said hearing. Okay, now that comes under service. Serving a devotee can be by hearing or serving. Second is by taking remnants of food. Now tell me the third one. Now you don't know. That you're going to say service. What?
Following the orders, the will of.
Yeah, when we say hearing, when you hear, it doesn't mean I hear and I like no. It's supposed to be hear and follow. So no one could understand. And he said one thing. He had read it in some literature, Goswami literature. This was in South Africa, in Durban, in Iskcon. I remember I heard this. So he said, when an elevated personality gets angry with you and chastises you and you take it, if you don't reply, then his mercy comes. But if you reply or get angry, you may what's that word? Reciprocate angrily, then you don't get that. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada, when he was chastised in Lilamrita, it's there by his guru, he was happy. You remember that part? What was the it was one of the person, he told them that simply because you're giving me donation, don't think you control me. He was telling. And then he told Prabhupada something, Srila Prabhupada, I can't remember what it was. So then Prabhupada became happy. I'm being chastised by my guru. It means he likes me. He's being attentive. So anyway, these are different ways of getting purified. But it says here in the last part that shortcut is getting realization of someone who already got it. And therefore it's so valuable. Otherwise, of course, by devotional service, we get purified and get this realization. Okay, the verse again. O great sage, as soon as I got the taste of the personality of Godhead, my attention to hear the Lord was unflinching. As my taste developed, I could realize that it was only in my ignorance that I had accepted gross and subtle coverings, for both the Lord and I are transcendental. We are fully knowledgeable transcendental beings, thinking now that we are Tamil, Telugu students of VIT or brahmacharis. We are eternal servants of Krishna. Hare Krishna. Any question? Yes?
You mentioned that before, if we are not fully Krishna conscious, then we must. Yamraj is telling that they should follow their duties.
Yeah.
It's like a bull.
Yeah.
Varnashram.
Yeah.
So, what is the position of, let's say, a devotee now in current situation? So he is not ready to join ashram because he feels it's not for him or something. And at the same time, he is working and not willing to marry also. What is his position?
Not one, not joining and not in ashram, not doing anything. Yeah,
just
that.
serving,
Yeah.
doing some service, but at the same time not ready to commit.
Yeah. Now this is a kind of general question. Sometimes people go through some very difficult circumstances, specific cases, which we cannot comment on by saying, but that makes them do this, what you are saying. So I can't comment on those specific cases. Maybe there's some point. But generally speaking, that it's not recommended. We have to be in one ashram. Grahastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas or Brahmacharya. And that is done very soon. It's not delayed. One more thing, as I heard and I'll repeat from someone else, that if you notice such people, first of all, their health suffers because they are not regulated. If you have to take care of family, you have to be regulated. If you have to be in ashram, brahmacharya ashram, you'll be regulated. But if no one, there's no in between, you're not in either one, there's no regulation in life. Sleep anytime, eat anytime, don't eat one day. Immediately health suffers, they begin to, you can see, they suffer bodily discomforts because of that. That's one thing. Yeah, another thing is that advancement. You see, their duties in the Grahastha ashram, which if you're doing, they advance. In the Brahmacharya ashram we follow, we are doing the Varna, Swakarmana Abhiyarchaya Siddhim Vinditi Manava. By doing your Swakarma and doing Bhakti, one advances. But they are not doing the duty of this or that. So, it's not a good position. Unless somebody is fully self-realized, they don't have to do their duty. Or in some emergency. In Srila Prabhupada's time, it was not there. But whenever bhakti is brought or taught, you will see same time Varnashram is also there. Bhagavad Gita has 700 verses. It's explaining absolute truth. But there it was found that, Varnashram is found. It was found that this has to be mentioned in those 700 verses. Even though it's summary of the Vedas, simply we need to elevate people. This is for Kali Yuga. It's not for anyone else. It's meant for Kali Yuga especially. But there, Varnashram is good. So, what about that situation? If someone is not in either case, it's not recommended. Even materially, they go through suffering. Here also sometimes we preaching to different people. So many times this point comes up. But for example, I'll tell you, like in ashram, Prashadam is at a certain time, in Brahmacharya ashram. So we'll take. Also in ashram, you can't just laze around. Someone will say, hey, what are you doing? Okay, get back to work, like that. In a Grahastha ashram, it should be the wife or mother, whatever, is preparing, and then the food is on time. And there also, if someone doesn't go to work, why are you not going to work? You have to bring money, you have to bring food, you have to bring this. Okay, go to work, okay. Don't be careless, all right. But if someone is alone, who's going to follow them? Neither the brahmachari leader nor a wife, then he's completely at the whim of the mind. So that's not recommended. Materially also it's not, also shastrically it's not recommended. Exception is emergency. Or like in Prabhupada's, some spiritual master personally guiding and says do this and do that, and then emergency. Yeah. Yeah.
So in this, sometimes we see people highly ambitious for some material gains, and they think that family will be obstruction for that, and at the same time they are in spiritual life also kind of they doing devotion service, but at the same time this kind of situation is there that they are thinking that they want to do some work which will be possible if they are not entangled with these things. So then sometimes people tend to be in the middle zone.
Yeah, that tendency is there. But they have to understand the whole purpose of an ashram and each of the ashrams. You see, for example, Grahastha ashram, many people have to go through it because certain nature of people. So, actually, as Prabhupada says, like everyone joins the Gurukul and everyone remains brahmachari. But if one cannot, for some reason, they get married. Now, supposing, okay, they come out of ashram or they're not in ashram and not married, they have some tendencies. But if they go through Grahastha ashram, those tendencies will likely, by the time of Vanaprastha, they'll lose all, those desires and tendencies. It will be like, okay, that's it. I want nothing to do with this. And then they come to Gyan. This is Gyan, knowledge. Through suffering, through going through this path, they come to knowledge. If someone does not go through this path, they'll remain with these tendencies. They'll not come to Gyan, they'll not come to this realization. So again, another life they have to, it will keep either in that life or next life, again they have to go through this. They'll be more detached. And maybe they can nicely take Vanaprastha then, after having gone through Grahastha ashram or sannyas. So if someone does, it means they don't understand the whole point, why these things are here like this. Yeah, they have to understand. I explained about ignorance or vidya. Yeah.
So, Prabhu, one point you said that now we are discussing on Bhagavad Gita, but we are not discussing about Krishna. We should hear about Maharaj Vishnu.
Yes.
So I also noticed this point that generally whenever we discuss about how to control mind, senses, or we discuss about how we should engage in devotional service, but we generally never get time to discuss about Krishna's qualities, names, pastimes. So, Prabhu, how can we get time or to do that? Because I think that
No, actually, first of all, this is what we are discussing is Sambandha Gyan. And it is very essential. If you hear Prabhupada's early lectures, this is all he taught. He'll not even say God or Krishna sometimes. Soul, eternality, knowledge, suffering, material. So it is essential. But at the same time, Prabhupada wrote Krishna book quite early and kept telling his disciples, followers, read Krishna book. We have to personally know these things. We should know. We are personalists, we are doing bhakti, we want to know about Krishna. We should read. Now we should read Krishna book, basically, that's it. And now this, Vishnu Sahasranam, this is a personal opinion, that by hearing those lectures also, we can find out more about the nature. And when we hear about the nature of God, that attraction awakens. I have to be with such a person, I have to serve him, I have to be in his leela for his service, his pleasure. What a great personality. What a great, that desire comes. Otherwise, who is Krishna? We are reading, we don't know. So read Krishna book and hear the lectures. That's practical, I'm telling you, not a general thing. Read Krishna book, but it's in Bhagavatam you should read, it comes. We are reading Bhagavatam, so many prayers, but in between comes the form of Krishna. Krishna appeared in the assembly, his eyes were like this, and his neck was like a conch shell and all this. And although it's coming every time, we read every time, we're enthused to read it. Every time they're describing, but again, it's so blissful to read. So it comes in Bhagavatam. But definitely we shouldn't deprecate this importance of the Sambandha Gyan. It's so important. Actually, that Gyan, this will give you that. Otherwise, we are told, But then, as I heard in a lecture once from Maharaj, he said, Don't get stuck here, whole life in anartha nivritti.
Yeah.
This stage. You had to come this stage. Finally, we had to purify, overcome these desires and this, and start to, read about Krishna, his pastimes. Yes.
He was mentioning we don't get time to do it. I
Get
feel
time.
more than time, even it's like we
Time
don't get
management.
inclination to do it.
Whether we have to preach, we have to serve, but we don't want to know more about the person we are serving.
Yeah.
Because we say about, I mean, we discuss so much philosophy, but we don't feel like even to discuss the qualities. So I guess by hearing the lectures of Vishnu Sasana, we have more inclination to even discuss.
Yes, yes. I mean, it's so nice, Vishnu Sahasranam, because we see names of Krishna according to his form, activity. So then you meditate on that form, on that name, then immediately that Leela comes. Like Gajendra, I don't know, different names of Krishna, they're relating to his Leela of saving different personalities. Yesterday one devotee came here, what is his name? Prahlad Rakshak Prabhu. Immediately think of Nrsimhadev. Yeah, it's amazing. So yeah, we have to hear that and read. Yeah, time, inclination is not there. That has to be born. Yeah, we have to remind ourselves in association, in lectures about these things. Yeah, by the way, all of you, there's a chart behind. Feel free to fill it. The reading chart. Daily reading. Okay. Question. Shall we end here? Sorry.
One more reason I think we don't have inclination, because I think that culture is missing. Devotees don't inspire each other, because whenever devotees talk, no one talks, oh I read this today. So he'll also be inspired. We just talk, oh how.
And verses, this verse, that verse.
There's no discussion between
Yeah. Then that's true. Even we actually previously in Bangalore we put so many pictures around. Then we had to remove them. Now I think if we put them again, then we have to remove them. They're all in Iskcon. Many pictures, Leelas, Mahaprabhu, Krishna. Yeah, that's true. We have to remind the culture.
Yeah.
Culture. We have to adopt a Bhagavad culture.
Yeah.
Bhagavad Dharma. That will be nice. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.